Hey, I'm back. So, I want to talk a little bit. I just touched base on solitude and just the importance of spending time with yourself so that you can actually be in tune and figure out what's going on with yourself as far as your feelings and your emotions. And then the other thing now that I kind of want to just shine a little light on is the importance of controlling the focus of where your mind goes when it comes to emotions. And yes, you're gonna hear me say emotions a lot, but because I feel like that is a huge premise behind everything. Our emotions control us, and the goal through our inner work is to not allow our emotions to control us versus we control our emotions, and we use our emotions for their intended purpose, which is they're there as a tool to guide us, to let us know they're an indicator. Hey, something isn't right here. There's a contradiction within us. There's a vibration, a misalignment. And, usually when we have an emotion going on, there's always two feelings that come up. One or two voices, however you want to describe it. One that gives us a good scenario and one that gives us a bad scenario. And it is our job to decide which one do you want to feed into. And your control is in you have to choose always empowering meanings, and you have to make sure that you don't let your emotions get the best of you, because our emotions, they're like a drug. They come up and they take over you. When you get these intense emotions, and it really is like a drug. It just the people say, like, those people who like commit crimes of passion, emotions are like that. They sometimes can blind you, like, especially I know it because I used to have a lot of rage, and I was a very angry child, and even like my brother, I love him to pieces, and now he's changed a lot, but my brother used to be one who, when he would get really angry, it was like a tunnel. It was tunnel vision, and that's how I used to get when I was younger. It was like I have tunnel vision, and I would just black out. And my thinking cap was no longer there. I was no longer rational. You could not rationalize me. It was just like I fed into that emotion, like sucked the life out of me, and it just became me. And that's not a very great place to be in. However, I think we all experience it, and you have to go through it, and I think you have to be in those moments. I think we all have a light and a dark side within us. We have female and masculine energy, and we also have light and dark energy. It's just the duality of life. It's the yin and yang. It's part of this whole human experience. This is why being human is so interesting, because it's not one-dimensional. There's so many things that we can experience in this reality, and so many different ranges of emotions that I believe in spirit form you can experience. So it's, your emotions are there to serve you as a tool, and it's okay when you allow yourself to feed into it from time to time. I'm not saying always, but that's how the process starts. You have to start somewhere. And I can say from my own experiences that when I was younger, I had no control over my emotions. My emotions controlled me. And, it was like a light switch just went off in my head. And whatever I was feeling was what was dominant. I was going to control my reaction of what I said and what I did. But it's a place that is not a very good place to be in, because you're not in control, and then you go through the process of when you say something you didn't really mean, or you do things, or you hurt people, then you go through the guilt process, and then you beat yourself up because you feel really bad about what you did or how you reacted. And then it's just like you fall into this like vicious cycle. It's like you spiral down, and then of course you wonder why people are depressed and sad, and there's so many people who are unhappy, because your mind has the power to create heaven on earth or hell on earth. You can literally create your own hell just by your mind. I remember when I was studying religion, and I went through the whole religious phase of my life, and I tried a little bit of everything. And I remember, even, I grew up Catholic, and just when they used to talk about the heaven and hell, and that concept in itself never really I could never like wrap my head around it. Like for me, it just didn't vibrate with me. But when I would sit down and contemplate that, and I'm like, okay, this heaven and hell, for me, what came up was like, your heaven or hell is your mind, you know, because you can create a prison in your head just by the things that you think and the emotions that you allow to surface and to take control of you. So that's why it's so important to get control of your focus, of your mind, of where your mind goes. So when something happens or a situation arises, what's going to happen is your emotions are going to take flight, and it's like an adrenaline, they're going to take over you. But you have to practice not feeding into it right away. Sit with it, feel it, but don't react to it, because a lot of times when you react off of emotions, you're going to regret it, because it's never really what it seems. You know, as an example, I can use something like this is a very minute, dumb example, but it's something that I think at one point or another we've all experienced. Relationships, for example. You know, you're in a relationship and your significant other doesn't call you, or at a certain time he's supposed to call you. He always calls you, and today just happens that he didn't call you all day, or you had dinner plans and he's late and he didn't call. Whatever, just think of a little situation like that usually occurs. A lot of times, depending where you are at in your inner work and in your own process, a lot of times your mind will go, because it's just natural, to the negative stories and the negative scenarios. Oh, he didn't call me, how inconsiderate, how dare he not call me, and I've been waiting here and he didn't show up. You know, the least he could have done is call. Is he really at work? Did he go have drinks afterwards? Is he with someone else? I don't know. I'm just like making up all this stuff on the fly, but we've all encountered some sort of situation like that, and your mind, you know, kind of goes off. And sometimes you may be right, but a lot of times you're not. A lot of times it's just stories that we're making up, and your mind automatically wants to go to that negative stuff and think all these crazy things, versus, okay, you know, instead of being like, you know what, maybe he's stuck in traffic, maybe he stopped to get me flowers, or, you know, maybe he didn't call me, he fell asleep, he had a tough day. Not that he's not thinking about me, or he doesn't care, or I'm not a priority, or no, like there is a million logical, sane reasons why that person didn't call you or didn't do something. So why, if we're going to give something a meaning without even having any factual evidence or actual knowing, and we're just going to assume, then assume the best always. And if it happens that it's not the best and it's the worst, well, then you deal with it from there. But the point is that you always have to give things empowering meanings, because the more that you try to envision negative situations on things and you assume, all you're doing is sending out this vibration and emitting this energy that eventually will become your reality, because you are what you think. You are the things that we visualize in our mind. We are very powerful, and you have to be aware of that. So that is a process. It's a constant process of you and you. It's like you are your own best friend. You have to be your own coach. You have to wheel yourself in when the emotions rise up and they take over you. You have to kind of talk yourself in. If you have any thoughts, don't feel bad about them, but just be like, all right, Stephanie, okay, I went through all these 101 bad scenarios. Now I have to go through 101 positive scenarios, or 102 positive scenarios, and go with that. And then just wait to see what it really is. And a lot of times we work ourselves up, and then we really find out what the situation is, and we find out that we had nothing to worry about. There was nothing, but we just wasted all this energy. We had all this anxiety. We were upset. We got depressed. We cried, whatever it is. For what? It was a waste of time, because there was nothing there. And that's what a lot of us do. We make up stories, and we play out our own little video in our mind. But eventually, the more and more you do this and you live your life kind of from that process, then yes, your external life will start reflecting those things. And so that's really what it comes down to. Another aspect of it, I mean, the process entails a lot of little things, but I think that's one of the biggest things, you know, solitude and controlling the focus of your mind, of where you allow your mind to go. And, you know, sometimes you have to purposely be aware. Again, awareness. Because you have to be aware in order to catch yourself going out into Crazyville, making up all these stories. So, write them out, talk to yourself, be your own best friend, be your coach, challenge yourself to be better than you were yesterday. And when you do things that you don't like, or that it's not who you want to be, don't beat yourself up for it. Just learn from the situation, and everything happens for a reason, and just take the lessons from whatever situation you're confronted with and do it better next time. React differently. The only way that things are going to change in your life is if you can learn how to react differently to a situation that still looks the same, that continues to pop up in your life and has the same theme. The only way that situation is going to change is if your reaction to it changes, even though it's still the same situation. Once you can change your reaction to what is happening, then you will eventually have a different outcome. So then the next time, that situation will be different, and it will reflect more into your reaction, if that kind of makes any sense. But yes. Anyways, I have been talking for 11 minutes, and I think that's it for now. Alright guys, well, I think this was fun. I'm getting more comfortable, and until next time. Have a good day.